Welcome back, hustlers! So today we have Gene Caballero on the show. He grew up living in South America, but he grew up in Middle Tennessee. He has an MBA in finance and he worked as a corporate sales coach for Dell before co-founding his company GreenPal. So GreenPal is a gig economy startup, something like Uber and Lyft, but they have a focus on lawn care. How amazing is that, right? So GreenPal started off as a side hustle and he's been working on it while maintaining a full-time job for 5 years. And in 2018, his company has an annual revenue of $15 million US, and this year they are projected to close at $30 million US in 2019. So guys, do you want to find out how Gene did it? Stick around to the end of the episode because I'm sure that he has tons to share about his journey and experience as an entrepreneur. Hey Gene, thanks for coming on to the show. Why don't you start off by saying hello to our audience? Tell them a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, what kind of background did you have before you started off your hustle?
Yes, so my name is Gene Caballero and I'm co-founder of GreenPal. What GreenPal is been described as Uber for lawn care. Growing up, I've always kind of had the entrepreneurial bug. My parents both own their own companies, got cousins that have owned their own companies. And so I knew I always wanted to, to start something. Basically was raised in Nashville, Tennessee. After college, I went and got my master's. After my master's, I got a job in corporate America. And, during my stint in corporate America, always looking to find, the next project that I wanted to do, and then stumbled upon GreenPal. And so here we are. We started in 2014. Now we're in over 40 states and 150 major markets.
Right. So tell me more about GreenPal. Not when, you just answered that, but why did you decide to start GreenPal?
So growing up in high school, you didn't have a car or anything like that. You just kind of went door to door and asked people if you can mow their lawns. And so you knock on enough doors and you're going to get a couple of yeses. And so just kind of started doing that for extra money in the summers. And then that kind of spilled over into college just to make a little extra money as well. And just kind of did it on the side through college. And then when I graduated, like I said, I got a job in corporate America, so I kind of stopped the lawn mowing side of it. My territory, I worked for a tech company, and my territory was the West Coast. And so being on the West Coast, you're kind of privy to newer technologies. And so I was able to kind of see, Uber and Lyft and Airbnb kind of gaining traction out in the West Coast. And knew that if a person was going to summon a stranger to come and pick them up or, sleep on somebody's couch, then at some point they'd do the same with lawn care. And so that's one of the reasons why we started GreenPal in 2014.
So it sounds like, it's a big vision, like the boys like Uber, Lyft, they all raised a ton of money. Did you raise any capital at all?
No. We first got started. We probably would have taken money because we didn't really know what we were doing and could have used a strategic investor. But nobody was really knocking down our door to invest. So we just knew we were going to have to go at it alone. And it's kind of turned out to be the best thing that ever happened. Not taking money kind of makes you unit economics driven, and you kind of have to penny pinch and make sure that every dollar is being utilized to its full capacity.
So it must be a huge task, bootstrapping a company with such a big idea. You guys want to be the Uber and Lyft for lawn care. So I'm sure our audience would be interested in knowing, how your business grew. Like, what did the growth trajectory look like, since you guys started bootstrapping?
Yeah. Right? So, we started in one market in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're all, scrappy, co-founders. And so we knew that we couldn't pay $20 to acquire a customer. Our business model basically is, we take 5% of the transaction. So for us to pay $20 to get a customer, they'd literally have to get 15 lawn mowings. And that's just not scalable on our end, especially if we wanted to, keep growing. So we knew we had to, get in the trenches. And, the first few hundred customers, what we did is we actually went door to door for about a month, knocked on doors and told people about our service and got them to sign up then and there. So once we kind of got the feedback of, hey, this is a great idea, we know we need to expand to another market. That's kind of what we did. We've been able to expand, to 150 markets in 5 years. And so, when you have a platform that, helps people, so our platform basically is an operating system for landscaping professionals. So not only do we handle their demand creation, we also handle their route optimization, their payment processing, and basically a CRM for them. So, we had that goal in mind to be the operating system for landscaping professionals. And so, what we found over the course of our journey is that if you make it easy enough for these vendors to make money, what they're going to do is they're going to bring their non-GreenPal customers onto the platform. And that's kind of what we've seen lately. And that's kind of attributed to our growth, is being able to make it so easy for them that there's no other reason to do it the other way. So that's kind of the two main reasons that we've been able to grow is just, we've been able to launch a lot of markets. And then we've also been given the ability for vendors to onboard their non-GreenPal customers onto the GreenPal platform.
I see. So let's move back a little bit. You mentioned that you started GreenPal at 2014, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you were working a full-time job then? It started off as a side hustle, right?
Yeah. So, there was really no need for me to quit my job. I mean, we hadn't had really any sales or anything like that. It was basically just an idea, and, ideas are cheap. So, I stayed with my sales job until 2017, until I knew that, not necessarily that I could take a paycheck, but knowing that, we had proven the method, been able to, launch this in several markets, and it was growing in the right direction. So, my days were pretty hectic, Monday through Friday, basically 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then on the weekends, it was all GreenPal. So, it's just kind of something that you've got to be passionate about to make sure that you want to continue doing it, and make sure that, you've done everything you possibly can to ensure that you're successful after you quit that full-time job.
So how did that work out for you quitting? What was the turning point when you knew okay, I want to quit my job now because I want to focus on GreenPal?
Yeah, I mean, there's really not a perfect time to quit your job. You kind of envision it's going to be I get my last huge paycheck or whatnot. But my tipping point was when my day-to-day duties of GreenPal exceeded the time that my real job took. So, I was working 8 hours a day on both. And then I knew right then and there, it's okay, to get serious about this, you can't work 16-hour days for forever. And I did it for a few years. And, then I just knew that I couldn't do both that much longer. And that was basically the tipping point.
I see. So this is one question that I ask almost everyone else on this podcast, right? And I think this would be very helpful, especially coming from you. How did you land your first few clients? You mentioned knocking door to door, right? For the first 100. So did you do that yourself?
Yeah. So there's total of 3 of us co-founders. And, other than friends and family, friends and family probably were about 20 people that signed up. So we knew we had to get as many people as possible. And so what we did is we all got our iPads and literally just went into neighborhoods, knocked on doors, and, just told people about our service. And if they wanted to sign up right then and there, we had our iPad ready. And we were able to get around 100 homeowners. And, not only does it, jam users in your system, but it also gives you feedback on, what homeowners like about the product, what changes, what confuses them during the sign-up process. So we were able to get a lot of useful data out of those first 100, 200 homeowners that kind of set the precedent for future design and future features.
Right. So that's the hustle spirit right there. You want to get your first clients, go knock on some doors, guys. So,
yeah, I mean, being 30 years old, having a corporate job, you just cringe like that you're going to knock on somebody's door that you're a co-founder or that, that you work with. So it's very, very humbling to do that at, 35 years old.
Yeah. So how did your sales process change over the years? Like, how does it look like now? How do you get?
So the sales process hasn't changed. It's just basically the sign up process. So, we try to get out of the homeowner's way of, any barriers to get them to sign up. So we've taken our flow and designed it to be as easy as possible where any homeowner can sign up for bids in under a minute.
I see. But nowadays, you don't knock on people's doors anymore, right? Like how are new clients, how are new customers coming in?
What we're really good at is PR and SEO. We knew that our customer acquisition costs were going to have to be barely $0, So we hitched our train on the SEO bandwagon very early on, and so we've done a really good job of growing our SEO organically, and also being able to land a lot of PR in the markets that we're launching. So both of those combined over time have helped out a lot.
Right. So can you tell me a little bit more about your SEO process? How does it look like?
Yes. So, what we typically do when we launch a new market, like a major market, like let's just say Atlanta, Georgia, there are about 10 or 15 sub-markets that are in that area as well. So we create a landing page specifically for each and every one of those landing pages with unique content, basically for that area. So we also have about 5 or 6 different link building campaigns. We have we have a backbroken link campaign. We have 4 or 5 people that have an independently run link campaign. We have a scholarship. We have an infographic. We have a blog campaign. We pitch Hero. So we have quite a bit of an SEO strategy to get links built up. And anybody that knows anything about SEO, it's certainly grind. There's no way to get to the top without without doing some shady tactics.
Right. Okay. So cool. So it sounds like you hyper localized,
right,
and you created a ton of landing pages specific for a sub market. So how in terms of the United States, what kind of percentage of the United States have you guys covered?
I mean, geographically, we're in over 40 states. So that's 80% of the United States. In some of the states that we are in, we're in 3 or 4 of the largest metros. Some markets we're just in 1. So city-wise, I'd say 80% of the major cities across the U.S. we're operative in.
Right. Okay. So let's just rewind a little bit. You mentioned that your family members, a ton of them are entrepreneurs. How has that rubbed off on you?
Yeah, I mean, when you're growing up and you see your family running their own business, and kind of being able to not necessarily do what they want to do, but being able to spend more time with family, or take a vacation or things like that, and not be dependent on something is very liberating, and I remember growing up and talking to my parents saying, get a job, but if you ever want to start a business, it's going to be tougher, but it's also going to be more liberating. You're not going to be limited by a corporation or by any policies or anything like that. And, your ability to make money with your own business is infinite. At some point it stops in corporate America. So, it was kind of, a lot of the freedom and, just a lot of the idiosyncrasies with having your own business. That's just, it's almost priceless. So, it's not for some people. And a lot of us fail. So, it's a tough road to go.
Have you ever done any business prior to GreenPal?
Yes. So I had a sports equipment company that I started right after college. And we actually had contracts with about 8 or 9 YMCAs providing their youth soccer systems with jerseys, uniforms, and equipment. And did that for about 3 years. And I was getting all of my products from South America. That's where my father is from. And it got to the point where it was either, hey, I needed to move to South America to take over the manufacturing side of it, or kind of just shut it down. And at the time, I wasn't ready to make the move to a different country that abruptly. So learned a lot and decided to shut it down, though.
So I'm sure, as an entrepreneur, we're bound to make mistakes. So I'm sure you've made a ton of mistakes running these 2 businesses. And knowing what you know now, if you could go back to, say, 2012 or even way before when you just started your sports equipment company, what would you have done differently?
I don't think I'd do either of them again. No, I'm just kidding. Going back, I think I would probably do something different in college. I would probably have been some sort of programmer or something, graphic design. I was a journalism major, so I probably would have started there and done something more business related. I did go back and get my master's in business, but that's probably the main thing I would do is go back and, change my, my skill set and do more of a coding, programming type or graphic design type.
Why is that though? Why specifically programming?
I think that, so when we first started GreenPal, none of us knew anything about website design, website building, app building, or anything like that. So we actually hired a firm in Nashville to build all this for us, to design it, build it, and basically get it taken care of. Well, we paid about $125,000 for this company to build this website for us. And after they were done, it was basically unusable. It was very complicated, very confusing. And so we knew that it wasn't gonna work out. About a week after that, the company went out of business, and so we were literally had a unusable website that no
tech support.
Yeah, nothing. So just like, okay, we can shut this thing down now, or we need to have a technical co-founder on our team. And so one of our co-founders, Zach, decided to quit his corporate job and then go to the Nashville Software School, learn how to code, and took him about 6 months to go through the school. And with a mentor, he was actually able to build it. So, having a little bit of that background, I think we could have prevented those early mistakes with hiring somebody, and depending on them to build everything. But yeah, that was the first huge mistake we did that, almost sunk us.
Wow. $120,000 for an unusable website. That's insane. So right now you guys handle everything in-house?
Yeah, everything in-house. We have about 30 contractual employees that do development, design, data aggregation, pretty much everything that you can think of. So we have about 25 to 30 depending on the time of year.
Right. So that's the development team, is it?
Correct. Uh-huh.
What about how big is your team in total right now?
So there's just 3 co-founders. So it's just us 3 and then the 25 to 30 contractual employees.
Right. Lean and mean. So how does your typical day look like in GreenPal?
Yeah. Yes. So obviously I do most of our PR and our SEO and our growth. So every day I kind of take a look at our numbers, see how they're going today. I'll also look into the markets that we are launching, and I will do my follow-up emails and my pitching with all the PR markets. I'm typically on the road launching a new market about once a week. So, a lot of travel is involved with my day-to-day. So it's just kind of managing all of our launches, following up, and, trying to get new markets launched, and then also projecting and forecasting what markets we want to launch next. So it's a lot of growth and a lot of PR on my end on a day-to-day basis.
I see. So what are some of the tools that you use to help the business grow?
Yes, so I am a Google guy. So Google Sheets has been, my best friend. I've kind of just aggregated a lot of PR data as far as just getting in there and getting the context. So I have probably a gig of an Excel spreadsheet that helps me, keeps me on track to basically tell me where I need to go, where I need to grow, and what new markets we need to launch. So other than that, that's basically it on my
Google
end.
Sheets.
Yeah, Google Sheets. That's my main tool that I use.
Okay, cool. So last question for you, Gene, before you end this episode. If someone was starting a business today, can you share a few pieces of advice with our audience, knowing what you know?
Sure. I would 100%. The first thing is make sure that you have somebody that has a technical background in the project. They don't have to necessarily know how to code everything, but it's just a great idea to have somebody that can steer you away from $125,000 mistakes. And so you want to get somebody that has passion, with building what your vision is, and make sure that they can do what they say. So 100% have somebody with a technical background. Also take it slow. You don't hear that a lot, and we've taken it slow, and it's been basically because we've been limited by our resources. But I think it's the best way to grow. Once you take money, you're kind of in a hyper growth situation or die. And I think that in certain instances that it's not growing as fast as possible. I think it's growing the right way. We grow 100% year over year, and that's fantastic. And compound interest is something that is a real thing. And 4 or 5 years down the road, it's perfect. And you own the entirety of the business. So those are the main two that I would tell anybody. Is don't be afraid to grow slow, and find a technical co-founder, and defer money if you can. Unless it's absolutely necessary for your survival or your growth, then I would defer it. Be like a cockroach; they never die.
Nice. So super actionable stuff over there. And I know I say last question, and I do this a lot.
That's fine.
So how much of your website growth is attributable to SEO right now?
I'd say 90%.
Wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, we don't have a paid customer acquisition channel. So it is either all word of mouth and all SEO. So I would say it could be even higher than 90%.
So in the beginning, you mentioned that, okay, at first you guys were doing door to door, but now you're just growing slow and steady organically using SEO. But when did it really start to take off? Because, SEO growth trajectories are usually rather hockey stick-ish, somewhat.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would say probably late 2017. The reason being is that's when I went full time, and I was able to devote a lot of my time to the PR side. So with that being, with me being able to go full time, it's okay, we can aggregate more vendors and new markets and launch more markets. So in 2017, I believe we launched around 20 new markets. 2018, we were able to launch 35 markets. And then in 2019, this year, we're on pace to launch 50 new markets. So, being able to launch new markets and get PR kind of has helped our growth tremendously in the last 2.5 years.
Awesome stuff, Gene. So thanks for reminding me why I run this podcast. Lots of valuable tips over there. So Gene, before we end this episode, is there anything else that you'd like to add on for our audience?
And the best piece of advice I ever got from my father was there are 3 8-hour work days in 24 hours. Pick which 2 you want to work and you'll be successful. So that's my last piece of advice.
Wow. So do you work 16 hours per day?
No.
So how many hours do you work per day?
I would say around 7 to 8.
7 to 8. Right.
Yeah, but I'm traveling probably 3 days a week. So it's never ending, man. When you have your own business, yeah, you can sit down at a computer for 8 hours, but your mind is constantly running for 24. So it's never ending. You're always thinking about what's next, problems, how to fix things, how to make things easier, how to make things better. So
awesome stuff, Gene. One last question. What's next for GreenPal for the next 5 years?
Yeah, so the next 5 years kind of looks the same for us. We basically want to be in every major market. We want to be in every state. We want to be the default place where homeowners go to find lawn care. So, instead of let's get an Uber, oh man, just get a GreenPal. This year we're actually starting a new vertical. We're actually doing snow removal and snow plow services. So this is the first year that we've kind of stepped outside of the typical landscaping. There's almost an infinite amount of markets for us to launch in the snow removal vertical as well. So that's kind of the next steps for us in the next 3 to 5 years.
Awesome. So, okay, Gene, thanks so much for coming on to the show. Lots of actionable stuff and valuable insights as an entrepreneur. So, Hustle Nation, if you guys like this episode, remember to hit the subscribe button and share this episode to someone who might benefit from this episode. Until the next time, guys. Bye.